in studio this afternoon, we do have the managing director, Kune, which is a food delivery company that intends to expand its delivery services in the country. And we just want to get a picture of exactly what they're on to and the business model that they intend to bring into the country at this time when delivery services have been on the rise, especially at the onset of the coronavirus pandemic in 2020, a pattern that has continued to grow onwards up to where we are right now, stressing the importance of a digital economy in the country now. Faith Mwendia, Managing Director, Kune, how are you doing?
Good, thank you, Simba.
Happy to have you around.
Same here, thank you for having me.
Let's first understand Kune.
Yes.
For anybody who looks at you right now, who are you? What do you intend to do?
Kune simply is a food tech startup that's doing ready-to-eat meals.
Yes.
These ready-to-eat meals are fresh, healthy, affordable, and home-style made. So basically that's what Kune is. It's just a food tech startup that actually prepares and delivers these meals to its customers.
Fantastic. Now, I'm going to talk about exactly even how your introduction to the country has been,
Indeed.
even when you are raising your seed capital, what exactly that enabled you to do.
Okay.
But just before that, somebody would like to say that you're best or you're promising to build up on the African cuisine. How do you intend to do that?
Okay, as you know, Simba, we've grown up with amazing food. To
Yes.
this day,
Yes.
Kenya has a wide array of local ingredients, being in the African continent. We have great cuisines, some of which we have experienced, and there are so many more we'd still want to experience. If you're a food lover like me, we want to build up on that great cuisines that Africans enjoy every day, starting with Kenya. We want to showcase this, of course, not only to the Kenyans, but to also the world. So we want to just build on whatever we have that is amazing, that's tasty, that's very healthy for our bodies, and we want people to enjoy it as their go-to cuisine every single day.
Pretty much. Let's go back at exactly when you came into the economy. The first news that we got about Kune is when you actually went through a fantastic round of your pre-seed capital round, which enabled you to get $1 million US. What has that enabled you to do as Kune as you get ready for this expansion?
Simba, that's a very good question. That was our pre-seed funding.
Yes.
We required that funding to set up the company from
Yes.
scratch. Number one, that $1 million went into setting up the infrastructure, the kitchen that we have. We have a very massive kitchen that has a capacity of doing up to 80,000 meals a day. So the entire equipment that's required to cook all these meals, the different cuisines, that's number one. We also have our own technology. That's our website, that's kune.africa,
Yes.
and 2 apps,
Yes.
both on Android and iOS. We already set that up. To get the meals also to our customers, starting with Nairobi, and you can imagine Nairobi, or the sheer size of Nairobi, we needed to invest in a distribution network, which we're calling the hubs. So these are locations all over Nairobi that are close to customer. If you go into our app and order a meal, the meal gets to you in the shortest possible time.
Yes.
Because the kitchen that we have is actually in one location, but these particular hubs are closer to the customer. So we also spent quite a bit on the same. You know very well, there's no business that without people. We have a number of 80 employees currently and
Yes.
growing, who are very experienced in terms of coming up with the cuisines and making sure that we deliver our food on time. So of course that money also went into investing in a good and a very passionate team to bring these meals to the Kenyan market.
Pretty much. Just before we did this interview, I did ask you, and let me just take you a bit to the conversations that we were having just before you walked in.
Sure.
Because if we look at your price point, you're also promising that it's going to be as cheap as what? Is it 150 shillings to 360 shillings?
Yes.
Who are you targeting with these price points that we're talking about here?
For us, our target market is anybody
Yes.
who, one, would like to enjoy a local meal, a Kenyan-inspired meal or
Yes.
an African-inspired meal,
Yes.
and a meal that's affordable to them. Remember, we are very busy. We are all now back to work. We are stuck in traffic. We are spending quite a bit of time to and fro from our homes to the workplace, even back home. So anyone who can be able to spend, it's actually the range is from 220 shillings
220 to
to
360.
360. Yes, yeah. We want to make sure that we remain affordable.
Yes.
Price point for us is very important.
Yes.
You do know locally, we need to make sure that we remain competitive. So we've invested in the entire infrastructure, starting from sourcing the ingredients to preparation to delivery because we want to make sure that we minimize the impact on the cost to the customer.
Yes.
So for us, affordability is a very big, important part of the entire ecosystem that we offer.
Pretty much. And I want you to confirm this because when we're talking about foods that,
Yes.
that are cheap and affordable to even the common Nairobian who is actually working or doesn't have time to cook, somebody told me to ask you this question. Are you promising to be a moving kibanda of foods? Is that what we're going to see from Kune?
Not necessarily,
Not
no, because we
necessarily,
believe
yes.
there is a space for everyone in the market.
Yes.
Our space is just for the person who is a food lover,
Yes.
who enjoys a healthy meal, a tasty meal that is locally inspired.
Yes.
So for us, we are just open to anyone who would want to enjoy that meal.
Pretty much.
There's a space for all of us.
Another question comes in then, especially when we're talking about Kune,
Yes.
is that on your bio, you say that you actually want to build up on the African cuisine. And you're also not calling yourself a hotel. We are a kitchen. In this sense,
Sure.
are we going to have specific menus or they'll keep on changing with the different tastes that you'll run into in the market?
Now, that's the very biggest thing about Kune.
Yes.
Unlike what you see elsewhere where there's a static menu, we plan not only to have a diverse menu, but a menu that changes every day.
Yes.
So we want you every day to keep asking yourself, what does Kune have for me today? You know, other than just eating the same meal you ate the day before, the week before, we want to keep coming up with new menus. So for us, one of the key points in terms of our differentiator is to make sure that every day you go to our website or our apps, you'll see something new, something interesting, maybe an entirely new menu, or a different way to pair your food. There's a way you eat certain foods. So we want to teach you different ways your palate can enjoy new cuisines,
Yes.
but still locally inspired cuisines.
Yes. Yes. Look at it again. You're saying that your infrastructure for building up these meals and also delivery is already set
Yes.
and ready to go. I'll be talking about your target for this quarter
Sure.
as well. But when we look at delivery business in the country, we have a lot of companies that are also into this space.
Indeed.
Are we going to see Kune collaborate so you can actually get to the mass market, or you're bringing your own infrastructure that is bona fide Kune?
Okay. So currently, we have built our own infrastructure,
Yes.
which gets the meal all the way to the customer.
Yes.
In business, you have to keep innovating. You have to, first of all, most importantly, listen to your customer.
Yes.
We want to listen to our customer. Currently, we are serving certain parts of Nairobi, but we plan to scale this operation, and I'm sure we'll discuss this in detail,
Yes.
all over Kenya. So for us, at the moment, we will try to leverage our infrastructure as it is. Then we will keep our minds open to see what's available for us in terms of if there are any collaborations we need to look at. But at the moment, we want to leverage what we have built so far
Yes.
in terms of our infrastructure, both on technology and also the delivery.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
So what gives you the, I would say, confidence that indeed you are ready for this expansion since you came to the market? And I want you to talk to me about some of the practices or some of the patterns that you picked from your already launched areas. I will talk about like the Samia Park one. Is it really giving the confidence that this is exactly what Kenyans need?
Yes, we actually did a pilot,
Yes.
what we call like an organic launch, like
Yes.
talking to your friends, your family, from the end of November. And we have been actually, we can't say we figured it all out. We are learning a lot also from our customers. But what's giving us the confidence is the traction so far. You can imagine we went into launch late November. So December, we just operated for about 3 weeks.
Yes.
And now we are now, you know, January, February has been really the biggest commercial months in terms of the operation.
Yes.
We are doing now up to 500 meals a day currently. We're just about to do now our big launches where we go above the line, we advertise. We are also available on various social media platforms. And we've gotten very good feedback from the customers because customers want a meal that they can go to every day.
Yes.
A meal that's good for their body, a meal that is tasty. You know, sometimes when you say something is healthy, people tend to doubt whether it's tasty, but it's a tasty meal and a meal that you can go to every day. So what's giving us the confidence is one, that we've gotten very good reception from our customers who we are still very keen to listen to and to also to respond and proactively look for new ways to, you know, excite their palate, but also more so because we've seen Kenyans really enjoy food.
Yes.
They enjoy the foods that they know and the foods that are tasty. So based on that reception and the traction that we've made, every single day we are feeling fairly confident
Yes.
on the growth that we are anticipating for the business.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you're saying that by the end of this first quarter, you should be able to deliver 8,000 per day?
Correction?
Yes.
Yeah, so for end of this quarter, currently we are doing about 500.
Yes.
So realistically, since we are serving certain parts of Nairobi, we also want to scale all over Nairobi.
Yes.
So step one for us, end of this quarter, we are hoping to at least double that figure to at least 1,000 meals a day.
Yes.
Then possibly when we move to the second quarter, we can now gradually grow. Ideally, if we serve a greater part of Nairobi, is when we'll be able to at least move out of the 1,000 mark in terms of meals.
Yes.
So our goal right now is just to double the figure that we are currently doing, serving certain parts of Nairobi. By mid of quarter 2, we now have full Nairobi coverage.
Yes.
And by then, possibly we could go to 3,000 meals a day. But the capacity my kitchen has is 8,000 meals.
It's 8,000 meals
The capacity.
per day.
So I still have a very
Yes.
a long way to go.
Yes.
But of course, with the support of the Kenyan
Yes.
market,
Yes.
we remain fairly confident that we can meet and beat that number.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to talk about the expansion. Just before I get there, I want to take you back a bit and say, when you started this business in the country, were you looking at how ripe the digital economy has come? And if you go back maybe to 2019, would you have still started Kune if it were not for the COVID-19 pandemic, that all of a sudden every other business said we gotta go online because that's exactly where the money is?
We cannot downplay, as you know, the importance of technology
Yes.
in any business.
Yes.
Number one, we saw a space that we could play in the market as far as food and local inspired cuisines is concerned. Secondly, we saw that Kenyans love new experiences, even in their food. And we saw we have space based on the cuisine that we have, a very diverse cuisine in Kenya and also in Africa that we could serve. So yes, technology is a very big part of it. We would have still gone into business irrespective. I believe also the pandemic gave us a unique opportunity to leverage what we already had thought of coming up with in terms of the technology to serve the greater part of the country. So for us, we agree that indeed technology has played a very big part
Yes.
in reaching our greater demographic, and we look to innovating and growing as much as we can using the technology that we currently have.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
So going by your target then to double your plates to 1,000 by the end of this quarter, is that the only time then you're going to go into the second round of funding that is going to see you expand?
Okay.
And when we're talking about this expanding, I'll give you a lot of companies where I may not want to mention their names right here,
Sure.
because the majority of them are also into the type of business that you do or related in some way.
Okay.
We've seen them come and stagnate in Nairobi for quite a long time before they can actually then start moving out.
Okay.
But for you, you have this plan of saying, well, let's explore other parts of Kenya as well. What is different in your model that is going to make you step out of Nairobi as quick as possible? Because when we're looking at your expansion strategy, you're saying we want to get across the country.
Okay. So first of all, to address the issue you've mentioned about funding.
Yes.
As I mentioned earlier, we were able to fully exhaust the pre-seed funding, and currently we are fundraising
Yes.
our seed round.
Yes.
Currently looking to raise about $4 million maximum. That will, of course, not only help us to commercialize our operation, one, in growing our distribution infrastructure, that's the hubs. First of all, in Nairobi, as I mentioned, we've not had full coverage of Nairobi. That's number one.
Yes.
Number two, there's still so much we can do with the technology because we need to support the scale of operation that we are looking at. As I mentioned, my kitchen has a very huge capacity, so technology will play a very big part in terms of making sure that we delight our customers. Thirdly, what makes us confident is because, as I mentioned earlier on, so far, traction has been good. There's a huge space outside of the city. That's the main city outside of Nairobi. You can see there's been quite a bit of growth in the counties.
Yes.
And some of these cities, of course, we have quite a huge space to play. So we are confident when we look at the growth that these counties are witnessing in the cities, that we will plug into that growth and be able now to also supply this food to all these food lovers all over Kenya.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Another question that I also want to ask you then, especially when we look at Kune, from where you're seated this afternoon,
Okay.
would you say that you'll be able to give us a projection then, going by exactly as been since November up to now, on where you'll be by the end of the sale?
So what we are looking at is, of course, as I said, what will drive our growth, number one, is the customer.
Yes.
We want to listen to them, we want to delight them, and we want to make sure that we exceed the expectations. So if we're to project, ideally, I would want to focus on, as I said, first, we work with a full coverage of Nairobi, we master it, then we now carefully and use a calculatedly move to the counties, the cities in the main counties.
Yes.
So my plan before end of year is at least to have a Kenyan coverage. Let's say a 12-month period to have a full Kenyan coverage.
Yes.
That's what we project.
Yes.
And of course, by then we'll have perfected, there's so many cuisines that we want to introduce. And I think for us, we would want to work with that,
yes,
even before we look at now expanding outside of the country into the greater continent.
I also saw that you want to take advantage of the seasonal vegetables and even fruits that are actually available at some parts of the year or some in a few parts of the country as well.
Sure.
Is that also a challenge that you want to solve, that indeed you're giving local farmers a chance for them to sell here locally without really having to bother on exactly how they're going to sell their produce? And how do you plan to source for that? Because market has been a challenge for these farmers as well. Yes.
True. As we said, our meal is local. The very first place to start is here.
Yes.
Currently, we are sourcing all our produce
locally.
Yes. 100%.
Yes. And would you say that the network has continued to grow?
It is actually growing.
Yes.
You can imagine if I'm at 500 today, in another couple of weeks, because
yes,
end of quarter is in a couple of weeks, we'll be doubling that. So that means more business for our local suppliers. For the capacity that I'm looking at, a kitchen of 8,000 meals a day, I'll need a bigger ecosystem. And by then, yes, for sure, I can assure you will be sourcing directly from the farmers. You remember, Simba, one of our biggest differentiators is the price.
Okay.
The only way I would be able to pass on that benefit to the customer is to be able also to go as close as to the source of my produce as possible. So we are also want to continue supporting the local farmers by getting all our produce within. So to support that huge capacity, indeed, we will have to go to the local market. So
yes,
in terms of scope and capacity to support local, it's massive for us, and we are really looking forward to doing so,
yes,
and support them as well.
It's a direct one as well from one interested party who was trying to look at your menus.
Okay.
They asked, are you trying to expose the Nairobi meal buyer, or even as a favorite restaurant that makes a favorite dish? Are you saying that Nairobians would have favorite restaurants because then they've not been exposed to the varieties and variability of dishes that they can actually get to order?
Kenyans,
are you trying to change that culture?
No, Kenyans already enjoy their meals.
Yes.
We just want to give them, interesting diversity of meals.
I see.
Just a different way to taste food. This
Yes,
is the way you pair your food even to start with. This is how you eat a certain starch with a certain vegetable. For your information, our meal is balanced. It has not only a starch, a protein, a vegetable, but has also a fruit. So a fruit salad with it that comes as part and parcel of the meal.
Yes.
So for us, we know that Kenyans really already enjoy their meal. We just want to keep adding on to the diversity, adding on to what they already enjoy, and to, just keep, testing with them, learning with them, enjoying the food with them. So for us, we are confident that we will continue iterating the meals and the menus that we currently have.
We've got entrants who come into this market, especially the ones that are into food delivery business, and they say, we are promising delivery within 3 to 4 minutes. Others say 10 minutes. And that has been a selling point for majority of them, with customers saying, well, if you order on this one, you don't have to wait for that long. Somebody will ring your bell with your food. Do you have that kind of a promise from Kune?
For us, we want, number one, ensure that the meal is healthy,
yes,
is fresh,
yes,
is tasty,
yes,
is affordable. Very important. But also, there's no need to do all that if you can get the meal to the customer in the shortest time. We want you to get the food in the way we prepared it a few minutes ago. So in terms of getting the meal to our customer, yes, we have a customer promise.
yes,
We want to get the meal to the customer at least within 30 minutes thereabout.
yes.
And that's why we have invested heavily in the hubs. which now come closer to you, yeah, as close as possible as to you. So when you go into our app, you go into our website, you place an order, and it gets to you in the shortest time possible.
Pretty much
and
possible.
in the form, and in the kind of form that it was prepared for, the spirit behind which that meal was prepared for. So we want to make sure that that meal gets to you hot and as tasty as we want you to enjoy it.
I like the way you say the spirit that meal was prepared
Yes,
with.
yes.
So at no point then would we ever say that Kune as a place you will go sit in and enjoy your dish. That's not your business model at all.
At the moment,
Talking to the Kenyans who like to say, let's take a break and go for lunch.
yes, and have a seat somewhere.
Yes.
That's a very big part of the Kenyan
Yes.
culture, as you know.
Yes.
So at the moment, the hubs that we have, which are in various locations all over Nairobi, we're using them as distribution centers. But if you pass by that hub, you can pick a meal. What I currently do not have is a sit down. Yes, one, I want to leverage what I already know, what I
Yes.
already have.
Yes.
Then, you know, who knows? In business, you can keep iterating the business, you can keep learning, but at the moment, we just want to leverage the technology and the distribution network. But if you're in the vicinity, you can always pick up a meal. You can walk in and pick up a meal
Yes.
and carry it away as hot as it is, and you can feed on it. But currently, we do not have a sit-in. What we don't have is a sit-in, like a restaurant kind of setup.
Yes,
Yeah.
pretty much. So I can go to your website, order. I can go to App Store right now, download the Kune app and start
Yes.
ordering. I can go to the Play Store right now, download it and start ordering as well.
Sure.
How interactive is your website and your app for, especially for a company like Kune that is promising, we're not going to give you one menu. You log in and find a lot of things that you actually have to pick from.
Good
Yes.
question. We actually build our website and the user interface for the apps within. We've worked with developers.
Yes.
We also have quite a number of focus groups. We
Yes.
get quite a bit of feedback, even before we went to commercial operations now, early part of this year. So in terms of the user interactiveness, it's quite good. It's quite simple. We also want to make sure that even as you enjoy your meal, that's part of the meal. Going into the website is also part of the experience. So the same promise that we have put in the meal, we also want to make it as simple as is possible for you to order. So in terms of menus coming onto the website, quite simple. Keying in your bio data, very easy. We put it with the mind of that busy person. We don't want you to go there and spend minutes and minutes.
Yes.
What you want is a meal
Yes.
at your desk, at your home, in minutes. So in terms of the interactiveness of the apps and the website, it's so far quite fun, quite interactive and quite easy to use.
Yes.
Yeah.
So are you saying that Kune Kitchen is going to be 24/7 service?
Very good question.
Yes.
Currently, we are open from 10:30 all the way to 10 p.m. in the night. As I said, my customer is the king. The customer speaks as we grow in terms of our volume and the number, and also the perception that we get from the customers, the feedback we get from the customer, we will want to listen.
Yes.
So for us, nothing is off bounds at the moment. At first, we had a shorter period of time we were open, and we kept hearing from our customers, you know, I want a dinner meal, or for yourself, you're working late, you know, you want to have something to eat or something to carry home. So for us, we want to make sure that we keep serving them. So at the moment, we are willing to see what the customers would want to hear from us in terms of, you know, the time of delivery. But who knows, we may get there very soon.
Pretty much. So now, paint for me then a picture of Kune in the next 5 years. What do you envision the company to be? What is the specific solution that you want to solve now, which you think is going to put you at the heartbeat of Kenyans, especially when it comes to the cuisine needs?
I want Kune to be the go-to food ecosystem, starting with the Kenyans and now Africans and worldwide. I want to see possibly one day someone will wake up outside of the continent and eat a Kenyan meal. Yeah, that's what we want to see for Kune. And we want customers who are delighted by our meals, customers who just wake up every day and Kune is their go-to place. Yeah, it should be second nature for them. So that's the kind of company we are trying to build, a movement kind of, where people just enjoy great meals, enjoy locally inspired meals, enjoy homemade style meals, you know, the meals that you know, the meals that give you some, it takes you back to how you grew up. That's the kind of thing we are seeing. But we want this meal to be not only a Kenyan, or I mean only eaten within Kenya, but eaten outside of Kenya.
Yes.
So that's the kind of picture we have. That's the kind of vision we have in our minds.
Lastly then, as we clear this conversation,
Sure.
do you think that now Kenya is poised for a takeover in the digital economy? Because when we see headlines like Kune raising pre-seed capital of $1 billion US, it sort of tells you, where are we? Are they looking at us and saying, well, now we are ripe for a digital economy takeover? Or hold on, wait a little bit?
Takeover is already happening. Kenya is a very vibrant business country.
Yes.
And as you know, food and agriculture is a very, it's a major contributor of our GDP. So in terms of the tech takeover, the digital takeover, it's already happening.
Yes.
And there are so many opportunities for companies like ourselves, you have seen. But of course, driven by the customer, by the customer feedback, we are already ripe for it. And we are here to, take advantage of those opportunities. So yes, indeed, we are ready for that kind of takeover in terms of the digital leveraging of businesses like ourselves.
Faith Mwendia, Managing Director, Kune, thank you very much for visiting Metropole TV Studios.
Thank you for having me.
Fantastic. You can go online and order right now. It's lunch hour.
It's lunch hour. Yes, you can order. You can order your meal anytime.
Pretty much.
Yes.
I'm actually going to try it after this.
Please do.
That is Faith Mwendia, Managing Director, Kune, clearing Metropole TV News at 1. My name is Elijah Charles Kiage. Remember, you can be part and parcel of these conversations at Metropole TV KE across all your social media platforms. I am at Kiage Simba. Good afternoon. See you tomorrow.